And now it's over at Sony Pictures,
Ah.
and like this is just. I think this video came out before this Sony Pictures announcement happened. I think Jason Momoa is still attached to star in it.
Wow.
I like Jason Momoa in general, but in terms of I've read, it's one of the few graphic novels I can say I actually read. And I read the Crow graphic novel that they're saying this reboot is supposed to be even more faithful to. And I feel like casting massively tall, buff Jason Momoa is not in tune
Eric Draven.
with who punk rock
Eric Draven
Very
Yeah,
true.
bro.
Very
He
true.
lives
Well, I was
hard.
in love and playing rock. I was weightlifting all the time.
When you die, the gains are enormous.
Yeah. Oh my God, is that the Reject Nation?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
Where did they come
I'm Greg Alba.
I'm John Humphrey.
I'm Akasan.
Akusan, baby.
Akasan.
Hey. Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are we? I'm saying hi.
Akusan was in a sketch the first time I met up with him. Now he's actually doing the thing you guys probably wanted him to do with us.
I think
Reaction
so.
videos.
Yeah.
Do something creative.
Don't worry, one of these is gonna get
reactions. Yeah. Well, we're gonna watch from one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time, What Culture. These British dudes are hilarious and have some great list videos. Please
Yes,
go
they
check
do.
out their videos.
I love their wrestling videos, actually.
8 upcoming movie. That's true. They do that too. Yes, and 8 upcoming movie reboots that are doomed to fail.
Oh man.
We all love reboots here.
Why not?
They're all great. I haven't seen a bad one yet. Now, let's check this out. We're going to do a Patron of the Day shout out after the reaction for Nuke 2X.
2 times.
2 times. the
Double nukes.
All right, here we go.
Ding ding.
The
What?
only thing I like doing more than casting doubt and doom
Adam.
over upcoming video game, film, and TV releases is being proved wrong. So take this as a clear notification. The titles on this list worry me a great deal, in fact, but I want them to prove me wrong. I want to have humble pie to
see.
go with the egg
We'll
on my
see.
face, because being wrong is a chance to learn how to be right. And listen up, kids.
I guess
I'm
not,
all
yeah, I
sorts
thought it was John.
Wrong. With this in mind,
Adam.
I'm Jules of WhatCulture.com,
Oh,
and
yeah,
these
yeah.
are 8 upcoming movie reboots that are doomed to fail.
Here we
Number
go.
8, Flatliners.
Yeah.
One of the main
I was
issues
afraid
with
of
the
that.
upcoming Flatliners film is that no one really seems to know what the film is going to be about. Originally, it was touted as a remake and then later as a reboot, and it's sort of being marketed as a sequel now of sorts. It's all very confusing. The story of the original focused on what lies in the afterlife, with a group of friends purposefully flatlining and resuscitating themselves in order to experience the things that lie beyond the
I do
mortal
that every
coil.
day.
This remake boot well
refreshing.
is cleared up before the film's release is anyone's guess. But if not, expect this film to beep, beep, beep at the box office. That was a bad joke.
Yeah.
That was really bad. Number 7, The Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With one of the most beloved children's book
Wow.
series, you might want to start at the beginning. This seems to have escaped producer Mark Gordon, who has confirmed that his Narnia tale will be an adaptation of Book 4, The Silver Chair.
Yay!
It's not a bad book by any stretch, but then again, surely this is going to alienate any fan of the previous film.
Yes, it
If
is.
we're going to wipe the slate
Wow.
clean, then it makes sense to start with Book 1, The Magician's Nephew, which has actually never been put to film. Seeing as the other Narnia films didn't exactly set the world on fire, it's hard to
True.
imagine that picking up a story halfway through
Wow.
is going to do any better. Number 6, The Crow.
God, I'm so sick of
In
this.
the original movie, the Crow reboot simply will not die.
True.
Despite an eternity in development hell,
gonna
studio
suck.
closures, and a multitude of other setbacks, executive producer F. Javier Gutierrez confirmed as recently as this year that the ill-advised project still remains on the cards. A number of actors have been linked to the role of
Right.
Draven, but does any Crow
Really?
fan really want this to come to fruition?
No,
Ignoring
no.
the fact that they adapted the original source material near perfectly the first time round, the way those heinous Crow sequels turned out is proof that
Yep.
one movie is more than enough. Number 5, The Naked Gun.
Why?
I really do. I think he's the type of guy that I'd like to go and have a pint of the good stuff with and then go suit shopping with while chatting about the finer qualities of Adam Blompier's mum's underwear collection. What I'm trying to say is that he's a man with range, yet I don't want to see him as Frank Drebin. Why? Here's why. It's basically because Naked Gun had a factor that really cannot be replicated. Think how many other films that tried
Oh,
to
no.
are at the joke factory that actually worked. Very few is the answer.
True.
And when you realise that this is being penned behind the minds who shat out Nights at the Museum, it's not looking great. Number 4, I Know What You Did Last
really?
Summer. The only thing frightening
maybe
about
get on
I
board
Know
with
What
this.
You Did Last
Yeah.
Summer is that this reboot of this teen slasher piece of crap has made it beyond the scripting stage. Now, interestingly enough, the film is being helmed by the team who made Hush, so that actually is quite
That's
promising.
cool.
Yeah.
Yet it seems to be that this is a franchise that really did die off quite definitively, so it's hard to see what they can do to bring it back. Number 3, The Fly. A remake of
be okay with The
a
Fly.
reboot of a series which
you've
has
had two
laid
good
dormant
ones.
since 1989. Just leave it be, mate. Just gonna put it out there, you're not gonna top Cronenberg when it comes to body horror.
That
so
is
it's really hard to see
true.
what The Fly
True,
remake is
true.
going to be able to achieve. The original Fly has been remade, reimagined, and repackaged to perfection. So deconstructing it for a second time is at best unnecessary, and at worst, sacrilege of the highest order. Number 2, Jumanji. Welcome to the
I'm
jungle.
not too excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay, where to begin with this one? The Rock, aka
Why?
Mr. Dwayne Johnson, said that this is a continuation of the original, yet that raises so many
Why is it a
questions.
video game?
Like, if this is so, then that means that the board game that was in the first one was digitized and
Right.
turned into a video game, which is
Right.
so very stupid. The actual comedy of this film looks like it could actually work. It could, but why attach this to Jumanji? It would have worked as its own film
Yeah,
fairly
I
easily
agree.
from the sounds of it. This is something we're very worried about because Jumanji is an extremely special film for many of us
True.
in the office. And number 1, Police Academy. I like Key and Peele. I like Paul Maslansky. I loved Police Academy. Yet what really worries me about this reboot of Silly Piggies is that it's been described as grounded.
What?
That instantly makes it seem that all of the silliness is just going to be curbed, and the over-the-top nature of the police officers potentially dialed back. And where does that leave us? With just another comedy with the police being the
True.
butt of the jokes. We've seen that so many times over, so where's the fun? And that's our list. Got any other upcoming
Okay.
films
Good
you're
list.
worried about?
Yeah.
Let me know about
Not
them
as bad
in the
as I
section
thought,
below.
actually.
And why not swing by whatculture.com for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. As always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you
Yeah,
soon.
subscribe to What Culture, guys.
Do it.
Okay. And before we go into our discussion on this What Culture video, I want to give a shout out to Nuke2X. He's from Scotland.
Scotland!
I have Nuke2X. He's from Scotland.
Scot.
Scotland! Percent subscribe to the Real Rejects.
That was pretty good.
That's a real like good
Oh my god.
fucking accent. Thanks
Thanks
for
for
joining our
joining our
Patreon,
Patreon.
becoming a Patronaject.
Thanks for
He
letting us
specifically-
butcher your
Hey, no, that's honoring.
Scotland.
What he wanted us to give a shout out to his stepdad's YouTube channel. It's like a vlog channel.
Ooh.
I don't know how to say what it's called, so here is a screenshot for you people.
I can't even read that.
Yeah, it's a really cool vlog channel. I saw some videos. Didn't understand any of it because it's all in Russian, but go check it out if you're Russian.
If you're one of our
Rush
Russian
to it.
subs.
Yeah, one of the
Russian
5.
subscribers.
Yeah. All right. So the first one they talked about flatliners. Yeah, that's a good point because that came out in like I think 90 or 90 something.
It was the 90s.
It was
yeah,
90s,
Yeah.
and I'm a 90s child.
Yeah.
John's a 90s child, and we know plenty of 90s children and people before. And still, a lot of people haven't even seen Flatliners.
Right.
Like,
I've never
plenty
seen
of
it.
people
I've
haven't
never,
seen
I'm
it.
one
I
of
haven't
those
seen
people.
Flatliners.
Reasonably popular film. Honestly, if it was just a straight up reboot, remake, I might have been a little more on board for that. But the fact that they are donning it as a sequel and Kiefer Sutherland's supposed to be in it, I'm like, you're really relying on nostalgia here for Flatliners, which a lot of people still seem like they haven't actually checked out.
I don't like
True,
longingly
yeah.
look
Yeah.
back on Flatliners.
Yeah, like it looks visually cool, the movie.
I like it.
And I like Ellen Page, but in terms of like hoping to be this box office success, I don't see it being this grand thing. No one even seems excited about the new one.
I didn't even know about it till today.
Yeah. It seems like people either don't know or just aren't really thinking about it. And
True.
like the vibe I get off Flatliners is especially because they've changed what the impression is supposed to be, and that never communicates a good vibe to me. I almost figure like this is gonna come out and maybe make a little money and kind of slip out of theaters. It's like the vibe I get from this.
Yeah.
It like won't be terrible, won't be great, and it'll just kind of go.
Chronicles of Narnia. You seem excited about this, Cousin.
Only because I've actually never seen the originals. Or
Oh, really?
any of them. them. So it's an interesting concept, but
Have you read all 27 books?
not at all. I didn't even know it was based on a book until late in the game. Actually,
Really?
yep, not
You
really.
couldn't even get that vibe.
The
Halfway through the third movie, I
the
decided
best
to check.
Lonely Island taught me about the Chronicles of Narnia.
What?
Yes,
What
Narnia?
calls Narnia?
That is still a terrific song.
They make a great point here, though. Like, the first movie was the third book, I think? Second? I
think.
It doesn't
Well,
matter.
crazy, yeah.
Why is
Yeah.
it number one?
They,
You know?
And they did that the first time they adapted it too. Everybody starts at The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Got 7 stories to draw from, and nowadays, especially like before I got it, I was like, okay, you want to cherry pick one book? We're not franchise minded, fine. But nowadays, even when they started the new franchise, with Tilda Swinton and all that, I was like, why don't you just start at the top and go through
Yeah.
all 7 and
I feel like what they're trying to do is make these later, they're adapting these ones that are later books, make those huge, and then do prequels. Because we love prequels.
Harry
we
Potter.
love finding out why things become what they became.
Well,
And
the
yet
thing-
they're rip-offs, but whatevs.
Well, the thing is, too, and to the, I guess, the opposite side of this coin is, like, not all the books are about the same characters, but some of them are.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, I don't know how going to the silver chair seems like an odd idea. If we're going to reboot Narnia again, why go even deeper?
Have you not seen them?
Nope, not at all.
Who?
Wow.
What do you do in Japan?
Not watching.
Are you?
I don't know. It's just one of those things that kind of just passed the time while I was transferring over.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Game of Thrones kind of guy.
Never
Speaking of Game of
it.
Thrones, your boy Khal Drogo and the Crow, we were just reacting to a piece of news on this.
So,
Really?
Akasan, what are your thoughts on the Crow reboot?
I'm kind of for it, but at the same time, as they kind of mentioned with Jumanji, there's kind of a special place. Like, The Crow has a special place in the 90s that will always be there.
Yeah.
Brandon Lee,
Last
everything
film,
like,
yeah.
it's kind of like, I'd rather them not mess with it at all. I'd rather them just do something else. Sounds like there's so many problems with this movie to begin with. Just
They
let it be.
should just let it die. Because
Yeah.
at this point, I feel like
Yeah.
they're just trying to make it to make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
People have been expecting this, so let's just finally do it.
I was
You know?
I was a little bit intrigued when Tom Hiddleston, I believe,
Yeah.
Loki, when he was kind of on board. I'm like, maybe you could make it work, but now it seems like you're saying they're just making it to make it.
I'm the only person who thinks this, so take this with a grain of
The
salt. But,
sequel.
like, I don't think The Crow is impossible to remake. I don't think you can just make it to make it, like it seems like they want to. The only time I heard of a Crow reboot and it went, yeah, was when Rob Zombie wanted to do it.
Hey.
So I was like,
Yeah,
that
I
dude's a
could say-
rock and roll
Right.
guy.
Yeah.
And then, like, where you're coming from, okay, like, I get it.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're just gonna, like, find a director and kind of smash him on it.
Yeah, see, I could theorize all day about what a Rob Zombie one would be like, because he knows how to capture angry personalities very well, but the Crow, Eric Draven's a very hurt guy
Yes.
from Love.
Yes,
And
yes.
so you combine, it's like seeing that element of Love being hurt and anger combined for the revenge factor, that would have been cool. I don't really know what these guys would really provide, but hey, we'll get it one of these days. It's been like 18 years in the making. The Naked Gun is
tricky.
kind of how
Tricky.
John really feels about Point Break. It's like if Leslie Nielsen isn't in it, why do it? I mean, it's like you can't. No one can. It's like when they.
It's not
like
about the plot. We don't love that movie for what
Yeah,
it's about.
like Steve Martin in the first Pink Panther remake was all right, but then the second one was god awful, and I just kind of feel like doing Naked Gun could fall under that same type of category.
Yeah.
But do you think there's anybody with that nowadays, a comedian with that Leslie Nielsen sort of appeal that could have a script similar, not the same, but similar, and people would be into it?
Dane Cook.
Okay.
No.
I feel like Steve Carell got close when they
Get
remake
Smart.
Get Smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I agree. Yeah.
because if I'm thinking of this, I'm like, what like Ed Helms is
Ed
in
Helms
on-
isn't played for like freaking out over shit.
Yeah.
He's the guy in The Hangover freaks out over everything.
I kind of shared this their opinion, which is sort of, I like Ed Helms. I'm usually excited to see him in a comedy, but I can't see him as the lead of Naked Gun.
I'd say wait and see. Like, I wouldn't mind them making it. It's not going to cost them much, but just wait and see with that one.
It'll
Plus,
cost.
they can get OJ to be in it again.
God, got that late. The Fly remake.
Third time's a charm, baby.
We are Fly remake. They might get it right this time. That's how I feel about it.
Maybe the third one will be so great, it'll be like the greatness of the first two combined.
I feel like in terms of tone and story, you could do another Fly, make it modern. Sure, necessary. Definitely not necessary.
No.
Practical effects seems like impossible to top, but if they can honor it with doing practical and body horror, we got it. We might get like a great, even more serious type of thriller. Because I think the one with Jeff Goldblum was like a little campy and cheesy.
Okay.
It's definitely gross and scary, but there are times where you're like, it's a little corny. It's still amazing. But yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't have a problem with that being remade. It's not like the original is like amazing. It's like if you said you're gonna remake Scream, I'd be like, no.
Really?
Well,
wait. So you would say
over-
no to Scream, but okay with I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, I feel like
I Know What You Did Last Summer got overshadowed by Scream.
Yeah,
That's the only reason.
I feel like Scream is so specific in tone and style and characters.
I see.
Like you at least even remember some Scream characters beyond Ghostface. I know they have a good TV show going right now, but I Know What You Did Last Summer, I'm like, I don't remember any character. I know the actors, I don't know the characters.
This was the Friday the 13th to like Scream's Halloween, where it's like, okay, you know, it's not quite as groundbreaking, but you know, it's a bunch of popular teenagers we like in a similar slasher scenario. So, like, and they have the added benefit of like, you have the fisherman guy.
Got it.
And that's something that isn't
interesting.
super
I mean,
relevant, but you can make really cool
I feel like you
now.
could do like a defined style with a reboot of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
And nobody really seems to love that movie for being great. You know, like it's
Really?
What's your problem, Marcus?
No, I'm just weird that you would see that. I just didn't really get the whole hook. I was like, all right, it is what.
Oh,
it
you mean
is.
you just don't really care for I Know What You Did Last
Right?
Summer?
I didn't
yeah.
like you guys are praising it.
I don't
but-
love
No.
I
We're
don't,
saying we can be on board with the reboot because the original is not that great.
Okay.
Yeah, how you guys feeling about that Jumanji?
Jumanji.
Like what Culture said, it would have been great if they just made it a different movie. Why use it? Why use the name? Because everybody's going to be comparing it to the original. And like we already stated, some of these reboots have a special nostalgic feeling, but it's not because of the story. By God, no. It's the actor that was in it.
Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen, Robin Williams. I like The Rock. I like what The Rock does. Would have been better by a different name. And again, if it's going to be a reboot or if it's a continuation, then why the hell is it a video game and not the original board?
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it was these punk-ass kids that stopped playing video games for a second, found the board game in an attic, and I'm like, no, let's just play around. Then they go. But the whole video game concept, you lose the feeling of it.
The plot's kind of insulting to what Jumanji
Yeah, exactly,
is.
yeah.
Only because it's called Jumanji. Like, if you had just changed the title to something, it's like, I would have been okay with a movie that's inspired by a Jumanji, like a movie. That would have been totally acceptable. But to call it Jumanji, like, you're not understanding the rules of the game of Jumanji in general. Robin Williams isn't in it. It just seems like typical marketing updates of what to do with a Jumanji sequel.
So they don't lose the rights to
Or some shit. It's conflicting because I like a lot of the comedians in there.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think this movie is doomed to fail because I
think it'll make a lot of money.
I think the cast
think
is
it's
great.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
excited to go watch that cast together. I think the kids are like, we're excited because like everybody has a soft spot for Jumanji, it seems like. I actually don't think as hard, like I think that the hook of Jumanji is interesting. Like the game itself, I think there's enough there that where you don't need the original cast if you don't have them. I get that. This doesn't look like, this is like spiritually on point. I'm like, how did this buried, apparently one-off board game become digital? And also like the motif of Jumanji is watching them play through and the fact that they have to continue the game.
Very good point. Yeah, very good point.
I get that they're in a video game, but it looks like they're just going to go on an adventure and then come back out of the video game. So like, where is the keep playing element? And it might be there, but
good point.
And it seems like it's a one joke thing of the fact that they go in there, oh, I'm The Rock, oh, I'm Jack, I'm Kevin Hart. There's a specialty if they went in there and they were those people. If you wanted to get The Rock and Kevin Hart to star in a Jumanji reboot, come up with a more clever way to get like people who are them who go into the game instead of let's get kids and they transform into this for this one funny scene where they're like, oh, look who I am here, you know?
You know what I would have done? I would have had them be like a bunch of old friends getting together over a weekend.
Yeah.
And then they find it on the beach and they're like, You want to play like
That would have
board
been
game?
fine.
Okay.
That would have honestly been fine. The last one, Police Academy. I don't know if I get so hung up on the whole grounded thing, to be honest. I don't like the idea of it being grounded. At the same time, though, if they're saying Key and Peele's involved in it. If they're involved in it, I think they might be taking the word grounded a little too literally.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'd be as
You can't
obnoxious.
do a comedy and ground it.
Yeah, you can't ground it, but
Well, you can have grounded comedy. It's
You have
just a
grounded
different style.
yeah,
of comedy.
because they have outlandish sketches on the Key and Peele show,
Okay.
but they're not like to the Police Academy level all the
Of
time,
slapstick.
absurdity all the time.
Yes.
So I feel like they might just be dialing it back a little bit, have a little bit more humor in the dialogue, as opposed to like crazy slapstick stuff. That's what I take from
Well,
that.
it's interesting you're mentioning the crazy slapstick style, but that was also like what made the appeal of the Naked Gun as well.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's going to be the big challenge is how do you bring that humor from the Naked Gun or Police Academy from back in the day to where we are now?
Well,
Yeah.
and where do those fit now?
Right.
I don't-
It doesn't make as much sense anymore.
It's like the heyday of the broad farcical parody movie is not now, and not to say that good ones don't still happen, but it always seems like a weird anachronism when they pop up now. So I'm like, you want to remake Police Academy? This isn't the kind like Friedberg and
Day and
Seltzer
age,
are
yeah.
struggling to keep the game alive, and they are doing a terrible job, and no one seems to be kind of mourning the death of it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. You can check out What Culture's videos on their channel. You can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. Datch on Humphrey on Twitter and Instagram. Patreon.com/Rejects. Become a patron eject today. More importantly, check out Akasan's channel in case you haven't yet. You might have already heard of him. I feel like a lot of people who've heard of me have heard of him. We kind of just go hand in hand.
Aww.
Either way, there are no people who have only heard of me and neither of you.